what it was. Y'all know who it is. And y'all tuned in with priceless knowledge of self. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight. And say, man, I hope everybody feeling lovely because I don't know what day it is in whatever city, state, county, country, continent, planet, density, or dimension you live in now, brother. It's officially Leo season where I'm sitting at. And what does that mean for us? That means we finna smile. That means we finna play. That means we finna have a good time, man. That means we finna let our motherfucking mane hang and do our motherfucking thing. Yeah. And we're gonna kick it off in a big way today. Best believe. There's a lot to say, so we're gonna say a lot. And that's because this right here, this is a little something about those people that have Jupiter in the 3rd house of their natal chart. And before we even go there, if you don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jupiter in astrology. I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about what the 3rd house of the astrological chart is all about. And then after that, we're going to bring it to a culmination, which fortunately for you, this is what your man's does best. So without wasting anybody's time, let's get on the ground. So, Jupiter, this is the planet of luck. And I also like to think of it as the thinking man's planet. And that's because, not only does it rule higher learning, but it also gives us a yin for exploring ideas both intellectually and spiritually. And Jupiter rules over the sign of Sagittarius and the 9th house of the astrological chart. And to a lesser degree, and to more traditional astrologers, it also rules over the sign of Pisces in the 12th house of the astrological chart. And hey, man, intellectually speaking, Jupiter helps us in formulating our ideology. And on a more spiritual sense, Jupiter also lords over religion and philosophy and theology. And this planet right here, it concerns itself with long distance travel, foreign affairs, ethical and moral values, and our inherent sense of optimism. All that comes with it, man. And luck and good fortune, they're going to show up wherever Jupiter shows up in a chart. And it's also going to show up whenever you employ the characteristics of whatever sign your Jupiter is in. And this right here, this is the most kind and benevolent energy there is in all of astrology. And it really wants you to flourish in the most positive ways. But there can't be too much of a good thing. You have to understand that, man. When you're fucking with Jupiter, there always has to be, that mindful eye about complacency. And you also have to be careful because Jupiter doesn't know any limits. It's not going to stop. Saturn, it knows restrictions. It's about boundaries. Jupiter wants to blow past all that. Jupiter's about expansion. It wants to take it as far as it can go, do it as deep as it can get, bust it as wide as it can bust, and just wants to go harder and harder and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. You know what I'm saying? That's what Jupiter's about. So, hey, there can be too much of a good thing to where it becomes a detriment. Understand that. Now, Jupiter also takes about 12 years to traverse the whole zodiac and then, come back to wherever it was right there. So you have a Jupiter return about every 12 and a half, 13 years, man. I'm going through one right now. It ain't hit just yet. It'll hit later on this year, but I got Jupiter in Pisces at 22 degrees. So it's finna hit later on this year. Hopefully I get some love in this year or some money or something. That would be lovely, but the spiritual blessings would also be awesome. It really would. All right, man. So when we talking about the 3rd house, the 3rd house is ruled by Gemini and Mercury. And this right here, this talks about our communication style and our thinking process. And it's all about writing and short trips and our younger siblings and pretty much our early childhood experiences. Grade school too. This could be seen in the 3rd house. And this right here, it also shows any powers that we might have of analysis and discrimination. And we all kind of know that the planets in the 3rd house, they indicate how we communicate and how we operate mentally. But they also show how things kind of went in grade school or how the relationship is with your brothers and sisters. So that's something to always consider in the mix with this one. So when we take in Jupiter and we put in Jupiter in the 3rd house of the natal chart, man. So the thing with this is, that phrase that knowledge is power, it's never been more true than it is for people with this placement, man. Because the thing is, having this placement right here, it usually points to these insatiable hunger that they have for knowledge. And, these people want connections. And that right there, that ends up probably being a tremendous source of luck in these people's lives. And don't let your head get big, but I also know that people with this placement right here, they have some extraordinary mental capabilities a lot of the times. And in the very least, these are going to be people that are extremely quick learners with exquisite, extensive vocabularies. Like, they know how to string some words together. And sometimes you'll be like, what? So in that aspect, they're blessed to the fullest, best believe. Plus, with them being able to communicate so well and, make connecting with other people is so easy for them, they're able to make friends and they end up with a lot of acquaintances from all different walks of life. And that right there in itself could end up being really beneficial to them at some point. And these are those naturally talkative and curious motherfuckers that sometimes talk a little too much and ask too many questions, but they don't mean no harm. They really just don't mean no harm, y'all, man. They probably just came from a big family where communication was key. Remember, whatever Jupiter touches, man, it expands. So in the third house, it's touching the mind. And likewise, these people right here, they love to learn and they probably get blessed for that right there, man. Think about it like this, man. Jupiter rules the ninth house, okay, which is exactly opposite of this third house right here. And the third house is all about gathering data and processing information, whereas the ninth is where we kind of merge all the little pieces together and try to look at the big picture. So with this placement right here, we see a bridge between those two ways of thinking. And hey, man, that usually comes into a really profound way of thinking and a really profound mind in a lot of times, man. And so these people end up not just being an excellent student, but some of them end up being prolific teachers as well, too, because they love sharing information even more than they love learning it, man. Best believe. And by the way, man, these are also usually more extroverted and outgoing people, but the sign and the aspects will definitely have a lot more to say about that, because I'll have me a fucking Virgo or a Capricorn or a Scorpio telling me how wrong I am about this. So there's a lot to think about with this one, man. But, they definitely need communication with people, man. This one says that, their luck lies in talking to people and learning and teaching and, sharing ideas of anything that keeps them going mentally and keeps them being agile and adept in that way too, man. So, hey, a lot of blessings may come to them just from their neighborhoods too, or their relatives or their little brothers and sisters. So that's worth paying attention to. There's all kinds of ways you can see this working out with Jupiter right here in the third. And speaking of which right there, man, with Jupiter in the third, I can say right here that these people, they probably had a really good relationship with their brothers and sisters or their neighborhood kids where they learned a lot from them, and they're probably really positive influence on their lives. Or, this could mean that, one or more of their brothers and sisters may have been Geminis or Virgos or something like that, or had those strong placements in their chart. Or, Sagittarius, pardon me. This could mean that one of their brothers and sisters could be a Sagittarius. Pardon me. I got it mixed up in my mind, man. This right here could mean that one of their brothers and sisters could be a Sagittarius or just be a really positive and jovial person right here, man. It could suggest that they had or be a Pisces too. With this right here. This could show that they had strong Pisces placements right here. Or it could just mean that they're generally positive people all the way around. Who knows? It could probably mean a lot of stuff, to be honest. But overall, it suggests that, these are individuals, who are really popular with family and in their little neighborhood, man. And they probably have a lot of acquaintances because they typically have excellent people skills. That's what it boils down to, man. And they also have a really awesome sense of humor with this. This is Jupiter in the third house. So the way they communicate is going to be really positive. It's also going to have a sense of humor to it, man. Like, they know how to make people laugh. And that's awesome, man. They love to talk. They love to interact. And, they're probably really animated when, they're also really charismatic speakers when they, try to get up there and get up on their soapbox. But they also have to try to avoid, speaking negative things into existence, because hey, as long as they can do that, which with Jupiter here ain't gonna be hard, beautiful things can happen for them. Beautiful things can happen for them. Plus, I'm gonna tell you now, I ain't met nobody with a third house Jupiter who, doesn't have a great deal of common sense, period. So, that'll probably be a big part of them not running into brick walls and what seems like luck in their lives, man. Because not only do they stay with an optimistic and positive mindset, but Hey, man, they have a lot of common sense to not get into a lot of the bullshit that a lot of people get into. This right here is Jupiter blessing their mind in a way that, hey, man, now we ain't gonna let you do that. We ain't gonna let you go there. Okay? But there's always can be stuff with any placement. So understand that. There's a negative side of everything. Understand that. In this case, if Jupiter's afflicted right here, man, it kind of indicates who's somebody who's prone to exaggerating too much. Yeah. Remember, whatever Jupiter touches, it expands. It expands everything. And so, if it's not used properly in this case right here, man, it can end up enlarging things that aren't necessarily useful in our lives, man. So let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's make sure that we're being truthful in our speaking. It's okay when you're telling a story and you're spinning a yarn, but hey, man, let's make sure that we're being truthful speakers, man. Cause this one right here, man, it can make you too boastful. It can make a motherfucker talk too much. And how the motherfucker are you going to learn something when you're talking all the time? So yeah, man, shut up sometime before you miss your blessing. But hey, even if it don't play out like that, the beautiful thing is just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. Okay, man? Because look, we all have all this energy available to us in our charts. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And there's been some priceless knowledge of self. Hey, man, use your brains and you'll be all right. I promise you, man. Just do what you got to do in life, and it'll be a beautiful blessing to you with Jupiter here. Y'all need to be hitting that like button. If you support me at all, if y'all fuck with me on any level, hit the like button right now. Not right now, right now. Do that for me. Help me get on this algorithm, man. Tell me how you feel on this motherfucking video. Y'all smile, man. Don't let nothing get you down. I love all y'all. Y'all keep it chill till next time. I'll be back soon with some better shit. Every time I come, I'm going to come better. Because I try to tell him, I ain't got my chart done by what's the name? And I say, hey, man, you should have came to Rodrigo. You could have got it done much better.